Today, my sister and I, we did a story time about how we first met. It was quite interesting to say the least. We first met when I was 24 and she was 27. And I didn't know about her like my entire life. So pretty much she just came knocking at my door and looking for me. So we're talking about that experience today. I really like my video. Please make sure you subscribe to my page and keep watching. I guess we could just talk like it's just natural.
It is natural. This was not planned, I swear to God. So my sister let me come over this morning. We're going to do this little, what is it, podcast? What is this?
I'm just going to post it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. It's a video. It's a YouTube video.
So basically, how long has it been? What year did we meet?
2017. So
18, 19.
It's only been 2 years.
2 years going on 3. I'm hanging out with my sis. And yeah, it's been a really nice 2 years.
So first of all, Chelsea didn't know I existed.
You didn't know I existed either.
I found out you existed like when I was like, I want to say like last year of high school. I found out I had a sister and I was like super geeked. I was like, where's she at?
Well, how did you find out though?
Because my mother went to get, this is how I know it was the last year, because she went to go get like the last child support payment from the place. It was like a receipt of all the child support.
Your mom went to go get a child support? Oh, for you.
Me.
For you.
And they gave her the one for you instead.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And she just got back and I thought my mother came back and seen somebody get whacked or something. I was like, what's wrong with you? And she just sat in the car and was just like, I think that's when they like hit her like, damn, this nigga not only had a kid, but he was paying child support too. And she just sat there and just cried for like a good, like cried the whole way home. Yes. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So we ain't talk about it that day. But like a couple of days later, she had she told me, she was just like, yeah, so the reason why I was so upset the other day is because, you know, I found out, you know, the lady gave me your sister's child support receipt instead, and like your dad was paying more for her. It was just like, it was about the amount, the fact that I think it was just like no woman wants to like come to the realization that like that dude that they was married to like not only cheated on you but like had a baby. Right, had a whole other family.
And he kept it his dirty little secret.
Like
nobody know.
Is the king of keeping fucking secrets. Like I don't even want to see the skeletons in his closet because I was just like, well, damn nigga, how you had a whole kid? And I was like, well, maybe she's out of state somewhere. But I was like, that was like confirmation. You were in Maryland. You know, all your stuff was here. And I'm like, it's such a small state. Like, it's weird that we just never knew, like, never ran
Okay, so
across
she
that.
told you about it a few days later. And then, did you go back and tell your dad?
No, I did not.
Nobody told him. So he still think, like, nobody knows
No one
about...
had a conversation with my father about this until after the fact. Now, I did talk to Wanda about it. That's my stepmother. That's my mom. And she had no idea, you know, and I was just like, well, we got proof now.
And what did she say? Was she upset?
Nah, like... she was just like, well, where is she? Like, and then her whole thing, she was more upset because she said, like, when she did marry my father, you know, they have kind of put everything on the table. She did. And she was like, you know, let's start clear, no secrets.
And he still lied. He still ain't saying nothing.
So that's why she was more upset. You gotta be careful
who you lay down with because...
That's why I've been single for like the past 5 years. So I just don't know if I can trust niggas. But Caribbean men are in their own category.
They are some sick dudes,
This is not throwing shots to old men. So anyway, so I always used to joke because I've always been in customer service. So people would be like, man, you look just like, you know, it's this girl who works. I'm like, well, I do got a sister around here, you know, so it could be her, you know.
Yeah, I used to joke like that too because I was like, I don't know my father. He probably got, you know, kids
how many
and kids.
But did you know he was Jamaican?
Yeah, I knew my father's name. I knew he lived in Maryland. I knew he was Jamaican because my mom did tell me that, but she never said, like my mom, she didn't really like to talk about the situation. I think maybe it made her sad or she felt some type of way. But, you know, I got a lot more information from, like, other family members. So, like, her sisters, my Aunt Nola would tell me a lot. Like, she knew a lot. Like, she showed me a picture of... I feel like she showed me a picture of my father when he was younger. Do I remember what the picture looked like? No, but, yeah, so... Oh, and she told me, like, the story about how her mother pulled up to my house, to my mom's house in Silver Spring and was throwing bricks at our house and busted our window because I remember the house in Silver Spring had a big hole in the front window. And I always was like, Mom, where did you get this from? And my mom never told me, but I think my Aunt Nola was like, yeah, you know that big hole that's in the front of your house? That came from your father's wife. And, you know, she found out your mom was a flight attendant, found out where you lived, and just pulled up. But, yeah.
See where I get that from. So, anyway. Yeah, my mother did tell me about that. And so that ties into, like, why I was so nervous. Because this is me not knowing really her story. So I'm thinking, you know, she still lives with her mom. You know, I had pulled up. I was at work, you know, at the bank, bored and shit, and I just started looking her mother up. And
wait, we went from high school,
so it was silence. We didn't really speak on it. It wasn't spoken on.
So, like, years went by.
Years went by, because I'm like 17, 18, you know, I'm still a kid, I'm still at home, you know, and I think the huge determining factor that actually made me, like, decide, like, okay, I'm really going to find her was me and my best friend had went to this, like, a self-development workshop, and it was like a 4-day course, and these are people all ages, different places, you know, and we all came together just to kind of, like, you know, tune deeper in and, like, try to figure out what's holding us back from our goals and stuff. It was cool. It was a great experience. I ended it there, but my best friend went on and did other courses with the group. But what I found was there was a lot of people who were in the class that, you know, and I'm significantly older than me, probably like in their 40s, 50s, that their parents had passed, and they were just like, you know, one of their biggest regret was, like, they never had a relationship with their mom, dad. It was crazy. Like, we had this exercise where, like, we had a conversation with our parents, like, one-on-one, mother and father, and it was just very intense. Let's just put it that way. And I noticed the people who didn't know their mothers or didn't know their father, whatever the case may be, they was in that zone, like, really. It was very emotional. So I kind of took away from that. I was like, damn, you know, I was like, I got a whole sister out here I've never met. You know, I don't know her situation. I don't know if she has other siblings. You know, I didn't know if she knew my dad. I didn't know if she had a relationship with her. I didn't know if he had his own relationship with her and just didn't. And I was just like, how could he like, mastermind this, though? Like, I was even going through his phone at one point, like, trying to fake like I had to make a phone call. I was, like, looking through his phone to see if he had, like, daughter or something, Chelsea. And then I was spelling your name wrong. I was spelling it I was spelling it with a C, you know, regular. Yeah, and it's E-E. So that's why I couldn't find nothing on you. So I grew up, moved out, had my own place, and me and my mother and my father was on non-speaking terms. I don't even think I was talking to my brother like that. And I'm like, I've always been like the black sheep of the family. Like, I've always been the one that sticks out. Like, oh, what's Mishka up to now? And I was just like, well, maybe I can have a connection with my sister, you know? And I made up my mind, like, I was really going to put energy, because, listen, if I wanted to get some information, I get my hands on information. That was me. Like, my baby father thought I was, like, in the CIA or something. He was like, yo, how the fuck did you find it? So I was like, let me put my skills to good use. You know, stop figuring out stuff that's going to drive me crazy and, like, really find something that's going to, like, help just make me, to me, like, oh. I always wanted a sister, too. Like, I always dreamt that I had an older sister, a bigger sister, or a sister. I used to have, like, fake sisters. I used to introduce people as sisters. They weren't really my sisters. My only biological sister that I know of. So, I found her mom's address in Jersey, and then somehow I was able to get her, spelling her name, and I looked her up. And she had, like, one speeding ticket or one ticket. It wasn't even a speeding ticket. I was like, damn, this girl good. You look at my name. It's like 3 pages. Like, a whole bunch of different addresses. So I was like, all right, I got the address. I called my best friend. She's like, we going today? I was like, no. I was like, let me think about how I'm going to, like, you know, I was like, I hope this is the same address, because it was, like, earlier in the year. Or, like, late last year. It was a couple months that had passed. I'm like, I'm hoping she hasn't moved since, you know, this was recorded.
So let's just be clear. You got the address. Your mom didn't know you had the
No,
address.
I wasn't talking to nobody about this. I was literally, the only person who knew about this mission I was on was my best friend. And me and her had been on so many missions before, but this was like, oh shit, man, this is going to be like a mission. Like, we have a purpose behind this. Like, I felt like, I don't know, it was almost like every time I woke up and I was like, this is a free day, we should go ahead and do it. Like, my nerves would get a hold of me, and I was just like, man, her mother gonna come to that door and look at me, probably think I look just like my mother's. I don't know, it was just so many what ifs. How is this gonna all play out? And I don't know, like, I can't remember what day finally, I just remember waking up, calling my best friend, like, look, we're gonna drive out there today. And we came out here late too, so
yeah, it was like,
it was early when we first decided. But then, like, I think we were just all hyped about it. We told everybody, like, yeah, we're going to drive. And then, like, two other friends decided they was going to come along. My girls are all hyped up. They was like, oh, we about to go meet our aunt. I was like, yeah. So we all packed up in the car, all of us in the car, ready to come out. And I was like, dang, what if she ain't there no more? Like, what if we rolled up on a bunch of strangers? Like, it was just a bunch of, and then I don't think you had that car anymore either. The car I was looking for like the make of the vehicle and everything. We was driving.
Oh, the Maxima?
Yeah, we was driving up and down the road. I was just like, all right, this is it. We drove past the house a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, like, what it looked like they sleep. It was crazy. Like, honestly, I was like, all right, let's just do it. And then the way up here.
And then it was March 11th.
Yeah, this is March 11th.
March 11th, 2017.
And my best friend was like, Nish, you should like, what you gonna say? And I was just like, girl, I'm a spontaneous person. It's just gonna come when we get there,
Wow.
So we got up here and we parked down there. And we walked. I said, I don't think all of us should come to the door. We was like, 5 deep. Like, we were like, I ain't about to come like some Christmas carols. So let me in, Kendra. We just gonna go up there and introduce ourselves. And like, when they came to the door, I was all in their house trying to see if I seen her. I was like, she in there? They were like, it was funny because I remember I knocked on the door and I'm just sitting there like, whoo. All right, maybe we should go back to the car and like think about it. She's like, nah, they coming, whatever. So they come to the door. It took them a while to get to the door. And they opened the door like, can we help you? Like,
wait, my uncle answered the door.
Yeah, okay. And I just remember like, I was just in the area. And I remember I told her, I told her I didn't want to tell them the truth. Like, I didn't want to tell them that I was racist because I didn't know. Mind you, I'm thinking she lives with her mom. And the mom's probably like, oh, hell no, we don't want these problems. Like, you came here to start trouble. So I was just like, let me get to her. Once I get to her, I'll tell her what's really going on. But in the meanwhile, in between time, we just gonna fake it till we make it, sis. Like, we just gonna, get through these people out here were strangers to me. I didn't know who was who, how their relationship to her. I didn't even know if they knew who she was. So, and I'm talking to them and they looking like they don't even know who the hell I'm talking about. And I was like, she doesn't live here, does she? And they were like, no. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, sorry for wasting your time. But I turned around. They were like, yeah, she moved. I was like, oh, you know her? And they were like, yeah, but how do you know her? Because we know all of Chelsea's friends and you ain't one of them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Stephanie, she never mentioned Stephanie. I was like, man, call her. They're like, no, your aunt. I think your aunt was like, I'm gonna call her. I was like, yeah, call her. I ain't know they spent a FaceTime, sis. I was like, oh man. So we get to the table. Everyone was like, hi, yeah, this is one of Chelsea's friends. Like, they get her on the FaceTime. I hear the little doo. I was like, oh, I'm looking at Kendra. She looking at me. I'm like, now what? Like, this girl gonna come on the phone and be like, I'm like,
and I did. I was looking at her like, so basically, okay, so this was definitely a Saturday. And I was off this Saturday, so I had not too long woken up from like a nap. Mm-hmm, and my aunt, she's calling me, my godmother, she's calling me. And I'm answer the phone, and she's like, hey. And I'm like, hey. And she was like, well, one of your friends are here. And I'm like, my friend? I said, what friend? Like, cause like they said they know all of my friends. Right. So I was like, what friend? And she was like, Stephanie. And I'm like, Stephanie. So I'm like racking my brain, like, who is Stephanie? And then she was like, she lives around the corner on Aragona or something. She said her aunt lives around the corner. So I'm like, So then she showed, like, they're on FaceTime. So this is literally my aunt with the phone in my sister's face, like, yeah, this is your friend. And I'm like,
She said she couldn't see, right?
Right, I couldn't see.
And then I like kind of like tapped the camera up. I was like, I know this girl gonna be like, run, get out, strangers. So I was like, maybe I should like tilt it up. Like, I was like, I can't see. Maybe the signal's bad, So
yeah. So then after that, she gives me her number. She's like, hey, just like take my number down or whatever. So I take the number down, and then we hang out, right? So then I'm texting my aunt, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. So just like let her go out the door, right? Because we don't know who that is, right? So I guess Mishka leaves.
I did.
And my aunt calls me back, and she's like, you don't know who that person is? And I'm like, no, like, I swear I've never seen her before. And so I'm thinking, she's like, yeah, her aunt lives over there. And I'm like, don't know her. I said, did she go to my school? Like, I'm asking questions. And so basically, she was a stranger, and she was claiming to be my friend. So I hang up the phone with my aunt, and then I'm like, okay, so she gave me her number. And I was like, maybe I should just call this number back. So I called her. I called the number.
It took her a minute because at this point, we down there like, oh, that shit went bad. That shit went left completely. I was like, Dre, you were right.
How long was it? I feel
Honestly, it felt like forever. We got in the car. Everyone was like, what happened? What happened? I'm like, man, I don't even feel like. I gave her my number. I was like, she ain't gonna call. I'm like, she probably did like this girl crazy. You know, because you just never know nowadays. Like, it's just a crazy world. And I'm just like, bruh, like,
and then my uncle, when I was telling him yesterday that we was actually going to film this, he was like, when she came to the door and she was like, she was your friend and she was looking for you. He was like, I didn't really know what to think because I never seen her before. He was like, I thought it was like maybe you had pissed off somebody's dude and this is the girlfriend coming to find you. Like, that's what he said.
In a typical world.
Which is any typical world, true. And that's real life.
It happens. Like, crazy stuff like that happens every day. And that's what I was afraid of. I was like, I hope they don't think like I'm like some crazy chick trying to like, you know, considering the whole situation too.
If it was up to my uncle, like maybe if my aunt wasn't even home, he would have probably like sent you on your way. Like,
yeah. So we sit in the car and I'm just staring at my phone like, you think she gonna call now? Or she was just like, Michelle, don't stress yourself. I'm like, should I go back and tell her? She was like, nah, like just like leave that shit alone. I'm like, dang. But we just sitting there. It's like an awkward silence in the car. Cause at this point, I'm just like replaying in my head, like, how could I have did that differently? And then the phone rings, and we like, oh shit, this might be her. Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's get composure. And this is when my best friend started recording, and I just remember like here she answered the phone. You could tell she was kind of weary, like, yo, who is this? For real? And I was like, Charles, like, I think me and you got the same dad. We're sisters.
I just had chills.
Yeah. I just wanted to cut straight to the point at that point. You know, like, I'm not even trying to, like, we drove all the way out here. It was damn near an hour drive. You know, we all happy to get up here. We get up here, and then I'm like, I feel like I just dropped the bomb. Like, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Like, I think you're my sister. And I mean, I didn't find out later on that she didn't really know who our father was until like we actually sat down. She told me where you was in Brandywine, Waldorf at the time.
I was in Waldorf,
which was like 20 minutes from Fort Washington.
Yeah, so I was on the phone and I was like, yeah, so you called, like you was at my aunt's house and you gave me your number, so I'm just calling you back basically. And so after she dropped like all of this information, I'm just like on the phone like listening, right? And I didn't really know what to do. Like, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have got a phone call from a sibling. Like, yeah, we're related type shit. So, I'm just
felt like
wow.
some TV shit. Honestly, it
like,
felt like
literally, I felt Ashton Kutcher was about to jump up on my head. Like, I swear to God. I swear, because it was just so freaky. And then she's like, well, you know, I live in Laurel, or I don't know where she said she was living, but she said she drove all the way to Fort Washington. Where is Waldorf? Like, I want to drive.
Super Maryland. I knew nothing about it.
She was like, I want to meet you. Like, we're already here. I came all this way to meet you or see you, and I really just want to, yeah. And I'm like, well. So I'm at my apartment in Waldorf, like, she ain't about to pull up to my house. You know, like, I was very, like, weary, yeah. So I think at that point, we had made arrangements to meet up at a restaurant. Yeah, we was going to go to Red Lobster. And so we pulled up to Red Lobster first, but they had like a wait or something. So this was so not smooth. So this is just even bringing even more suspense and anxiety to my life. And I'm just like, okay, we'll just go to Applebee's. What was it, Applebee's?
I guess.
I think it was Applebee's. So we pulled up to Applebee's, and I see like this red car full with all these people, all these heads in the car, and I'm like, my dumb ass pulled up by myself. Like, I should have called somebody, like, anybody, Jesus, somebody. So we pull up, and then like I think I got a glimpse of her when we was at Red Lobster. I'm not sure, but I did get a glimpse of you at some point, and I was like, she kind of looks like me. I'm like, we kind of look alike, but we're just gonna. Yeah, so then we get to Applebee's and all these people get out the car and I get out the car, we walk in, yeah, and then they're like table 4 and I'm like.
And initially we really wasn't planning on coming that deep. Like I think my friends were just excited for me because it's something I've been talking about for a long time and we were like, damn, we really doing this, and it just happened to be a day that everybody was free. Like, that was so funny.
Yeah, we sat down at this table in the back of Applebee's.
I just remember staring at her like, yo, this is really my sister. Like, I looked at my friend. I was like, we look
Oh,
alike.
wait, I gotta rewind a little bit. So after getting off the phone with you, I called my mom.
Like your real mom?
Yeah, I called my mom because I was like,
I didn't know this. I swear to God, this is the first time I heard that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so after we got off the phone, I called my mom right away because I'm still like not believing. Like I'm not a believer yet. So I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, you know, can you tell me about my dad? Like, just tell me. And she was like, well, what do you want to know? Like, it was so weird because it was like, what, 8 o'clock, randomly call her, like, tell me about my father. So she was like, well, I don't really remember what she said, but she gave me, like, the general basic information that I already know. And I was like, well, did he have any kids? Like, do you know if he had any other kids? And she was like, well, when we were dating, he had a 2-year-old. And I'm like, bitch, you never thought to tell me that he had a kid? Like, literally, 24 years of my life at that time, I'm just like...
Your only child.
He had a 2-year-old, and you never thought to tell your only child that there's another person out there that's related to you. So I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, why are you asking me this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like... Well, that 2-year-old just called my phone. Like, I think I just spoke to my sister. And she said, are you serious? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, well, what's her name? And I was like, Mishka, Stephanie. I don't know. Like, I don't even trust her name at this point because, like, I don't even know.
So, my first name's Mishka. I go by Stephanie. I go by both depending on the crowd. So I said Stephanie because it's such a, to me, Stephanie's like an Ashley Brittany. So I'm like, she gotta know a Stephanie. And like,
nope. And I
pull
didn't.
Up and she had
didn't.
But the chances of her knowing a Stephanie over Mishka is.
Oh yeah, Mishka. I would have been like, nah, I don't know that hoe. Sorry. Yeah, but so yeah, my mom was like, yeah, she had a name like that.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. Like now it's coming back to her. Like she forgot this whole time. And I'm like, well, Mom, I said, I'm about to go meet up with her. And she was like, oh, okay.
Why is she so calm?
Like, no, my mom, this is literally her on the phone. So she was like, well, I don't know if she said take a picture or she's like, call me back. Mm-hmm. But when I called her back later on that night, she was like, wow, so did she look like you? Like, she was trying to get the tea.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, like, we definitely could pass for sisters. And she was just like, you know, this was later on. But I really didn't believe. So I did have to call my mom to get like validation before I'm just about to go meet this person.
I'm glad
that's
you're
claiming.
like that because I'm not. I'm more of a like if I would have got called him like bet let's look up, you know.
And my mom would have been like, no, he ain't had no other kids, or
then you probably and that's
or no, I'm not aware. Maybe if she said I don't know, then yeah, but. I don't know, but that shit was weird. So yeah, back to pulling up, back to sitting at Applebee's, and then my nieces are there, and then all her other friends, and then so we're just pretty much talking about like, okay, I have a brother, I have, you know, my dad doesn't know that she's meeting me today, and she's asking me, well, when was the last time I seen my father? And I was like, probably like on a birthday, like when I was a kid, but that was it. Like that was the last time. And honestly, I think I asked my mom also, like, when was the last time I seen my dad? And she was like, it was at a birthday. And I kind of remember it, but I kind of don't. And then she also asked him, I think she said she told him to not come by anymore or something like that. Like, I think she told him, like, no or something. But I don't know. I don't even know if what my mom said to me is believable because Cheryl be a little all over the place. But, yeah, so we're just sitting there and we're talking and...
It took... Yeah, we had a little conversation. I can't remember. I feel like we were at that restaurant. It seemed like 20 minutes, but it was much longer than that. And it was more so like, even though I was sitting there talking to her, it almost still felt like a dream. Like, I was like, is this real? Like, am I going to wake up and just like, I had dreamt all this happened? It almost seemed unreal to me. Like, literally, my life changed. I remember going back to work and, like, telling people, yeah, I got a sister. You were there, like, you just had a baby sister. I'm like, nah, I just met my sister. Like, telling them the whole story. Like, the whole week, I was just telling them the whole story. Like, it was just cool to me. Like, honestly, I was
telling my clients, too. I went to work the next day.
Happy.
And they was like, what? Oh, my gosh. Like, they really felt for me because... You know, I grew up as the only child. Like, I didn't grow up with any other kids in the household. My aunt raised me, and she wasn't able to have kids of her own, so I was her daughter. And, you know, I had a good life growing up. I didn't miss not meeting my father or having him in my life. And even when she came into my life, I still don't miss him. I just carry on like, you know, it's regular, degular. I mean, my mom literally just asked me on Thanksgiving. She was like, have you seen your dad yet? And I was like, no. And, you know, people ask me that all the time. Like, it's been 2 years, me knowing my sister, and she's like, they're like, oh, have you met your dad yet? And I'm like, no. Like, I probably should at this point. Like,
and it's weird because before all this played out, like, initially how I was going to do it, I was actually planning on inviting my dad out to dinner and, like, just having her show up. And knowing my dad and the type of person he was, like, honestly, he probably would. I don't know. I really don't know, because I wasn't even expecting, like, the time I actually sat down with him and I was with my brother and I was just like, Steven, I'm scared. Like, I don't even know how to tell this dude. Like, I just went and found his kid. Like, you know, I really don't know. Like, my father's always been, like, a real, like, he's just a grumpy man. Like, he's always been that way. And I never really knew how to talk to him. Like, anytime me and him had a deep conversation, we'd just go left. So I was just like, Steven, come with me. And we just going to tell him, because I didn't even tell my mother. I didn't tell nobody. My family, like my aunts and them knew. We had went to the little fish market. And we sat down and had dinner with them. They were like, wow. They're like, your sister's beautiful. You know, you guys favor each other. Like, she's so cute. Like, we're happy for you, Mish. Because they knew I, like, genuinely, like, even though I just met her, I just loved her, like, so much. Like, I've always been, I just really loved her. Like, I was like, this is a sister. Like, my only regret is that, like, I didn't find her, like, from day one. You know, like, from when I first found out about her. Like, but I mean, it is what it is. I feel like everything happens for a reason, you know. I hear, like, I got 2 girls. They fight all the time. I'm like, I ain't got that issue with my sister because we grown. Like, we already on our own path of life and stuff like that. We link up, enjoy life, you know, build memories and keep it moving. So, we went to a restaurant with my dad. And, you know, this is me trying to encourage him to reach out to Chelsea, because at this point, you know, I really don't know why he didn't. I mean, I grew up thinking, I told him, I was like, Daddy, if, you know, someone told me you had a child out here and you weren't in their life and you knowingly knew you had a kid out here, I wouldn't believe them. But to hear it from your own kid's mouth, like, she doesn't have any memory of you, she doesn't know you, you know, she has no relationship with you, like, I was just like, wow. So, you know, he was quiet the whole time. He just taking it all in. And I'm like, yeah, well, I took it upon myself to go find Chelsea. You know, Mom told me about her a while ago, and I never mentioned it to you before, but I found her. And he was kind of like, he was basically telling me, like, I don't know what I just got myself into type stuff. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. Like, I really don't know her mom. I've heard stories about her, but I don't know her. And I'm guessing he thinks she's like a replica of her mom. And he's just like, that lady crazy. He's like, I don't want no parts of her. And I was just like, but you have to clear some things up on your end, because, you know, you pay child support for a baby that wasn't even growing up with her mom. You know, like, a whole nother family raised her. He had no clue of any of this. He was like, well, I find it really interesting that, you know, like, he was getting, you could tell he was getting a little, I was like, yeah, nigga, that was your check. That I was just like, and Chelsea feels like, you did nothing. You understand? Like, she never seen a dime of that money. You know, I feel like, if anything, you owe her an explanation, like, anything. You know, and I have 2 girls. You know, it's just, and I told her, like, when I first met her, I was just like, you know, Chelsea, like, you really, I feel like she had a great lifestyle growing up. Like, based on what I hear about her, I feel like she had a great childhood. She grew up with a real loving parents, you know, and I'm just like, I honestly think, like me, we have that, we know him, but we don't really have the, like, healthy, I've been working on it as I got older, but that was me. I feel like that's me putting effort forward to, like, build a relationship with my father, you know. He's just like, I don't know what it is. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain, but, you know, we sat there, and he just seemed like, that was the first time I think I seen my father, like, get emotional. He wasn't crying or anything, but he looked like he was, like, going to cry in the car on the way home. And I was just like, I don't know if I approached this the right way or whatever. And, you know, my brother, he's just like, oh, well, you know, it's his mess. He got to clean it up. I'm just like, you know.
Like, Steven was with y'all at dinner?
Steven was with us.
So what was Steven doing?
Steven was like, we found her? He's like, no, you found her. I was just like, Steven, yeah, you knew about it.
Did nothing.
Steven did nothing.
He was sitting there eating.
Yeah, Steven was in there eating his 10 pieces, little pizza pies, you know, but he was just real quiet the whole time. And I told him, I was just like, so we gonna, you know, set this up? Like, you trying to meet your daughter? I'm like, I showed him the picture. I was like, we favor each other. He was like, that's what you think? I was like, yeah, look at the picture. Like, and he was just looking at me like, bruh. He was just like, you need to find. Are you bored? Cause you you over here like digging in my stuff. You know, he felt like it was his business.
So he was more upset.
He was more like, yo, you need to like what, you know. And then it was more so like he was like, now everybody knew except me. You know, and I told him, I was like, I didn't want people to. I especially didn't want my mother to find out without him knowing, cause my mother can't hold water. So I knew she was gonna call him the day of, like, oh. Mishka found Shelly, you know, and I was like, I would rather tell you, you know, face to face, like, you know. And I was like, I didn't do this for you. I did it for me. You know, you made that personal decision that for whatever reason you don't want to be have a relationship or whatever. I honestly feel like my dad's perfect world, he would have like wanted us to meet at his funeral. Honestly,
I feel like that's what it would.
I
mean, I wouldn't even got the invite to the funeral because nobody would even knew I was here. I'm just like,
you know, and I understand. Like, I understand as a man, like how he kind of probably feels, you know, like, but. Then the other things, like, growing up, he always told me, like, you know, life comes, that's what he told me. He's like, life comes at you fast, deal with it. So I'm just like, I don't think this is you dealing with it. I feel like this is you running from it, you know? And I don't, it's like, it's still a huge secret. Like, we don't know what type of relationship him and your mom had. That's still a big, like, she don't really want to say, like, but it had to be something that took place that made him, like, say, like, man, fuck this. Because, I mean, I feel like his intentions were good at the beginning. He showed up to a birthday party, you know, it's not like you never met him. I feel like he had good intentions at first, and I do know women can be crazy. I know women can be crazy, and I know women can be spiteful. That's one thing I do know. And I know women also hold kids above men's head a lot of the time. So that's why, to me, it's like, and I think my father probably don't know, like, he doesn't know, it's like, if you guys could feel how I felt before I met my sister, and I didn't even feel like I was in the wrong. I was a kid in this whole situation, but I still had like a lot of, like, I was like, is she going to resent me? You know, like, I didn't know. Like, it was just like a huge cloud of not knowing. Like, I feel like he could probably feel that way too, you know, and it's like, I talked to my mother and my stepmom, and she told me too, she's like, I encourage him all the time, like, to reach out to Chelsea. Like, I feel like he's like, it's more so like of embarrassment on his end, like the rest of his family don't even know, you know. They're like, well, how did you keep this big secret for all this time, you know? But it's just like some things you just have to face, you know. And it's like, I feel like I told him, I said, you know, the earlier you would have taken care of this, I feel like it would have been, I'm like, now at this point, like, I don't even think Chelsea cares to meet you, you know? Like, so it's just like, it's a real touchy subject, and it's like, my dad and my brother don't even have a real relationship. So it's like, I'm like, am I going to, you know, it's just like, you can have all this love, you know, and that's probably your problem. Like, my father, to me, I feel like there's a void in his life that he hasn't fixed or healed from. And I feel like, if anything, like, your children, that's all you have at the end of the day, you know? Who's going to take care of you when you get old, you know? Who's going to be there for you, you know? So it's just like, I'm so blessed.
I don't know. It's definitely a touchy subject, but at the same time, now, like, even knowing that, okay, cat's out of the bag, you know, your daughter is
open and willing. Like, you know, we were excited at first. We were like, all right, I remember every time we seen her and her best friend, she's like, so when's gonna be the link up? And I'm just like, yeah, my dad don't even know. Exactly. Like, I was so nervous to even bring it up, and then, like, after I got the courage to tell him, and I just had kind of like have a pep talk with myself, like, Mishka, this isn't your, like, I did nothing wrong in this situation. Yeah, you didn't. I really didn't. Up till today, I feel like I did nothing wrong. You know, if anything, I was just trying to bring everybody together. And I even had a conversation with your mom, which was kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom on my 25th birthday definitely put her to the side, and they were having a powwow, and I was like, I seen them in the corner talking, I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be going good. And I was a little nervous, like, my mom meeting Mishka, because, I don't know, my mom's emotions is very weird, and she's just, how she is as a person sometimes be throwing me off. So I'm like, yo, I don't feel like this is right. So when they were done talking, like, I don't think I interrupted or anything, but when they were done talking, I was like, well, what was that about? You know, like, is everything okay? And basically my mom was trying to get the deets of my father. Like, she was checking for him, basically. So I don't know.
How many years has it been since they've seen each other?
I don't know, but I feel like, as far as my mom is concerned, I think, like, she's just curious to know, like, how that's gonna go down, or
well, interestingly enough, I'm planning on having a huge party next year for my 30th birthday, so they're gonna have to meet regardless.
Well, how do you think your father's gonna come? Because even after
he's definitely gonna come.
Like,
well, I'll tell you one thing. He was mad. Mind you, my daughter's 11. My oldest daughter's 11 years old. My father has been to one birthday party. Okay.
Right. I thought I was gonna see him at like a birthday party at my niece's.
Birthday party. So after like the third or fourth one that I invited him to and he didn't show up, I just stopped inviting him. I was just like, whatever. And, you know, like, my cousin was like, nah, you got to invite him every year because that way you know he's not showing up because of you. He's not showing up because of him. And I was just like, no, I'll just keep going. Like, you know, I feel like
There's nothing left in there. I have another glass.
Anyway.
Another one.
So, I invited him this year.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make my mimosa. I'm just trying to get my good drink on, okay? While we out here talking about our life, okay?
I invited him this year, and it was last minute.
This year to what?
To Tasha's dinner. I invited him last minute. That was the day of, and he kind of was like, man, he told me he felt like I didn't want him there. That's because I invited him the day of. He's like, you know, I don't operate like that. You gotta give me a week's notice. I was like, so you're telling me you would have came if I gave you notice? He was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Well, Milan's birthday, I'll give you 2 weeks notice. But he was just like, he was almost offended I didn't invite him. And I was just like, you don't ever come though. So, and mind you, like, I talked to my mom, his wife, way more than I talked to my dad. And she was like, yeah, we would have came, baby. And I was like, we as in plural? And she was like,
well, he didn't come to the last one when I met her and I didn't see him.
I didn't invite him though.
Oh.
Like, I stopped inviting him. And now I want to say, like, I've been the bigger person. I'm never the bigger person, but I've been the bigger person because a part of me feels for my father. And just knowing his story. And I said, okay, let me invite him. And it really was last minute. I really wasn't planning on having a dinner.
Well, he would have left that because I didn't get to go to Tasha's dinner party. So he would have been there like,
and I told my mother that. I was like, yo, the weird thing is Chelsea comes to everything I have for these kids. And this was the one time she didn't come. And he's saying he would have came. And he didn't know that. You know, he knows. I tell him, like we talk about Chelsea all the time. Because my mom asked me, like, how's Chelsea doing? I'm like, she good. Actually, we're going to see her this week. You know, whatever. And, you know, it would be funny because me and her be looking over there like...
Well, it's so crazy because the first time I met your mom...
Yes, that was another thing. It was so weird. Like, our moms are actually a lot alike, believe it or not. He definitely has a type. So I was just like, I told my mother, I was like, you know, my mother loved her grandkids to death. And I was like, do not come if you're going to make my sister feel uncomfortable. Because I'll personally tell you to leave. You know, I'm like... we don't need that type of energy.
Was she giving like those vibes before you invited her? Hey.
I could tell she was still irritated that I even took time out of my life to, you know, it was she was just like, my mother felt like I did this to embarrass her. She felt like I was a personal vendetta against her.
Really?
And that's why
it's been so many years later, like, nobody's not even thinking about you anymore, sis. Like, no one's thinking about you.
Mom, I'm not I'm not even that type of person to do that, you know. And she was like, well, why didn't she tell me that and I was like, we weren't talking. Like, what the hell do I look like calling you and telling you my personal business? Like, technically this has nothing to do with you at this point, you know. And she was just like, I'm gonna, you know, she was just saying that she's not gonna act weird or whatever, which she still did to me.
I feel like she acted a little weird because it was, I don't know, where was we at? Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah, and you guys were sitting beside each other, weren't y'all?
Yeah, you put me right next to her.
I did that intentionally.
So, when she came in, I was, and y'all looking like, so I was like, wow, I said, you look a lot like your mom. And then she was like, oh, you look a lot like your dad. And I don't know if she was like.
No, you do.
I mean, yeah, I believe it, but it was just like no. Why you say it like that, you know?
When my stepmother seen Chelsea, was like, that's definitely your father's child. Like, my dad has this, like, weird head shape, and all of us have
you have a weird head shape.
I know, all of us have it. Me, you, and my brother. Like, she's been worked on this head. She knows. Trust me. But I never noticed it. I swear to God, I never noticed it until, like, a year ago. And I was like, my dad's head, like, shaped funny as hell. And they were like, nigga, you got that same head? Like, I was like,
yeah, you have a weird shaped head too. I'm sorry.
So, that was the first time I really noticed it. But yeah, I want to say, like, of all three of us, she probably favors my dad the most. And it's weird. I told him, I said, you'd be so proud of her because, like, everything he gets on me and my brother about, she already has. Like, he's very hardworking. She's naturally hardworking. Like, my sister is so hardworking. Like, every time I talk to her, she's working or like trying to put on a project. Like, she's always, to me, I always feel like she's trying to better herself, you know. She's not comfortable with just staying at the same level. Like, I was telling before we start this podcast, I'm like, my sister stays booked and busy. Like, I gotta make an appointment just to have quality time with her. Like, it's just like, but I encourage her. She's still young and she still has so much more to grow and learn and stuff like that, and like so much success ahead of her. So I'm all here for it. And I'm like, yo, this is what my father's been trying to tell me and Steven. Like, he feels like we're really lackadaisical. Like, you know, like, go out there and get all the opportunities out there for us. And we're like, yo, the opportunity isn't going anywhere. He's just like, oh, y'all so privileged because you born in this country. He's telling us, like, what he had to go through in Jamaica. And we're like, thanks, you know, we're U.S. citizens because of y'all. But we good, you know. I want to say now that I'm approaching my 30s, now I'm starting to think about, all right, Mish, where you going to be at, you know, next year versus, you know. But it took me a long time. Like, it was just like a huge recess my whole entire life, you know. It's funny how you hit a certain stage of life, a certain milestone, and you start thinking about your future. All of a sudden, that's where I'm at right now. But I feel like she's more responsible. Like, people meet us and they're like, who's the oldest? And I'm like, yes. And they be like, she is. And I'm like, nah, she's just the mature. Like, I'm just a fucking
everyone thinks that I'm
like,
the older sister.
It's just like the mannerism. Like, I'm just like really hyped up naturally. She's more calm and reserved. They're like, oh yeah, she gotta be the oldest.
And then Steven is super calm. Like,
yes, like, my brother. Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's just crazy, but yep, it's. Ooh.
But I'll text them like, y'all want to take family pics? Like, I feel like I'm the one who's always trying to get us together and do stuff. I'm like, look, I got a life. I'm like,
I just feel like I'm still getting acclimated of being like a sibling. I feel like I'm still getting used to like sibling duties and, oh girl, you have nieces. Like, it's hard. Like, you just don't wake up the next day and be like, oh, well, let me.
It's been 2 years.
It's only been 2 years, right? And 25 years of my life. Before then, I was just all about Chelsea. Like, I don't have to share my clothes. I don't have to do.
I never had to do that either. I grew up like an only. Steven lived in a box, y'all. Our brother, my mom's friends didn't even know she had another child because he wouldn't come to know. Like, my mother used to work at this bank and she was high up in the bank. So, like, they used to have all these fancy, like, events and, you know, holiday parties and just stuff because they just had money to do stuff. And I would always be there, you know, just there. So everybody knew my face. And then I think one day she mentioned, like, Steven was graduating. They were like, wait a minute, you got a son? Like, so I grew up, like, Steven never wanted nothing. I was always a needy child. So, yeah, I feel like I grew up an only child. People tell me I act selfish sometimes. Like, oh, well. But
yep, that's the story.
That's the story. And it's just like, now we're older and I just, like, want to travel together. Like, I just want to, like, take time because at the end of the day, I just feel like, you know, it's his loss. You know?
For sure.
Yeah,
Facts.
absolutely.
Facts.
It's his loss. And I told him, I was just like, you know, I don't want you to think like, you know, I had a conversation with my grandmother and she was just like, you know, Mish, at the end of the day, I understand your intentions are good.
How does she feel about the situation? Does she know?
Yeah, my grandma? Absolutely. My grandma was like one of the first people I told.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, how did she feel? Like,
she didn't feel, it's weird. My grandma, her husband, when she was married to the guy, he actually had, so she has 5 children with him, and they were like separated for years, and he finally came home one day with like, I want a divorce, and my grandma thought it was like the end of the world, and my mom and all the siblings were like, yo, Papa, like, Daddy hasn't been here in forever, like, y'all was basically divorced already. But I think what my grandma was just like, and you know how hair is like a race thing, and Jamaica's like a status thing, you know? She was just like, she didn't care as long as on paper she was Jackson and people knew, like, but for it to hit a reality, like, my husband's asking me for a divorce, like, that crushed her. But he had a baby, he had a child after he left my grandmother, and she told, like, she forbid any of my mom, any of them to have a relationship with that kid. She was like, oh, really? Yeah, she forbid it. But, like, when I told her, I was like, Grandma, I met my sister and this and that. She was, like, really intrigued. She was like, well, what did she look like? I showed her a picture. She was like, oh, she's so pretty. I was like, yeah, she does hair and makeup. Like, a sister of my dreams. Like, I couldn't build a freaking better sister. So she was like, yeah, she's happy. Because she could tell, like, I was really excited. And she was just like, she's happy for me. She was like, well, what about your dad? And I was like, bruh, I ain't even tell him yet. You know, I'm like, but I have to. And she was just
I don't know. I feel like we should do like an ambush dinner. I'm just
she
trying to get more
this
subscribers on my page.
because
so.
she does not know this nigga, dog. Like, oh my God. My father's crazy. But anyways, I mean, honestly,
ambush dinner.
I asked, like, people who know him, I was like, how do you think my dad would react to this? And they were like, yo, your dad would probably just get up and walk away, bro. Like, he's at the stage of his life where he doesn't want no drama.
I'm calling Wendy, Oprah, Ellen.
We went to Wendy, and it was like, you know, the Ask Wendy segment. So me and her over here thinking of all these situations. When we left, we was like, nigga, we should have talked about our situation. Like, this is definitely an Ask Wendy moment, you know, but... It's just like
I'm getting a camera crew together.
I'm done with her.
So when this goes down, like that's all I need. I'm about to go viral, and this is my ticket out. So boop.
It's all fun and games for her.
I'm telling you, like I'm just gonna be like that. I'm just gonna be sitting there like this.
But anyways, my grandma was like, "Don't feel pressure to like fix and bond this relationship because that's between your sister and your dad." And she's like, "You've done everything you can do. You've talked to him, you know, you've talked to her." And she's just like, "What more do you think you can do?" And I'm just like, I just feel like, you know, I always want to fucking fix stuff, like fix relationships and stuff. And I was just telling him like, I don't know. I told him as much as I feel like he needed to know. And with that, you know, I felt like if that wasn't enough for him to be like, all right, yeah, let's do this. I think, like I said, the only thing that I can think of that justifies it in my head is just like, what do you tell your child, like, why you haven't been around? What do you say to that child? It's not really much you can say, you know? So, and that's the only way I feel. I feel like it's more so he doesn't know what to say, and he's not comfortable even having the conversation. And I just gotta like respect, like I don't know what to do, but honestly, like I really do feel like he can't run from it forever. Like I told you, like I'm gonna start inviting him again to the grandkids stuff, and if you know, like he knows I invite you to everything, so he knows you're gonna be there. I mean, if he want to show up and act like he ain't know you was gonna be there, and that's how he deals with it. That's just crazy. How he deals with it. But I mean, I would hope you would still approach him and be like, "That's gonna be the next segment. Like we're gonna have to have a whole camera
part too." And that's when I have my camera crew ready because I'm telling you,
like,
but it's just crazy because just the other day I had a client and
and then I also, you know, it's crazy. So my father,
I'm
sorry, but I had to say this. The one thing my father did say, he asked me, like, one thing he was really concerned, he was like, did she finish school? And I was like, nah, because she needed she was trying to do the whole financial system.
I didn't have the coin.
She didn't have and she needed his information.
When I was in high school, I remember I was trying to find him. Actually, not me personally, but because, you know, at the time, my mom, I think she was a flight attendant, and like I said, my aunt raised me. So at the time, I think we were talking about, like, I think my aunt was trying to get like
a legal
adoption. She was going to adopt me, or like legal guardianship. And basically, if both of your parents are still living, you have to get the consent from them. Like, and if you can't find your parent, you have to prove that you can't find them. So at this time, I was actually in high school, and my mom, she was like, okay, well, she wasn't with the adoption thing. Like, my mom had a thing about, oh, I don't want you to change your last name. Like, she was just doing too much. But basically, even for, like, legal guardianship, we still had to, you know, get both parents. So we was searching on the internet, and we was, like, you know, just looking around online. And I don't know if my mom was being super helpful. She gave the information, but I just feel like she wasn't giving her all. She was
still holding back.
Yeah, so it never really happened. It never got through. But just going back to what you were saying. What were you saying?
Oh, he was just saying that tell her to finish. That was his advice.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I needed, like, some of my father's information, too. So
without your information, you know.
Then when we tried to find him, it was, like, different addresses that was popping up.
Literally, I was just playing with the system, and, like, I had all these different sites, and I was like, well, let me see what I can find with my dad, and you can't even link me or my brother to him. Like, the only thing that pulls up is my mother and his new wife. And even the phone number's wrong, the address is wrong. Like,
I think Wanda pops up when you look for him. But, you know, like you said, the address is wrong. And then one time we called this one number. All the other numbers we called, we couldn't get through. But this one number, it rang. And this older lady answered, and she sounded like she knew something, but she was just saying no.
Hesitant to tell.
She didn't really give up. But to me, it was just like that was the plug. Like she wasn't, but she just wasn't like trying.
Well, do you remember what you said to her?
I really can't remember, but she was just like, well. The reason why I said she sounded suspect was because she was asking us questions like,
who are you? And if
like,
she didn't know him,
like who's who's calling or who's trying to, and I was like, well, do you know this person? She was like, I'm sorry, I don't have any information on that. And I was just like, wow. So, but yeah, so basically, yeah. Oh, back to what I was saying, and I can't even remember now. Before you cut me off. Oh, I had a client the other day. Who came in, and I think I was telling her I was going to your Airbnb Friendsgiving thing. And I was like, I said, I'm still getting acclimated to being a sister. I feel really bad because, you know, like it was your birthday and I wasn't like prepared for like your birthday. So she's like, you have a sister? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I thought you were the only child. And I was like, oh, here we go. So I pretty much told her the whole story. And literally, I told her the story. And she called me 2 days later. She messaged me on Instagram. She was like, girl. She was like, and she's a very spiritual person. She's amazing. She was like, girl, you will never believe. She was like, when I was talking to you, I feel like God was setting me up. Like, I feel like he was preparing me for, like, the next, like, for something like that to happen to me. Because guess what? She was like, I have a sister that lives in California.
Oh, that's lit. I would definitely.
And she was telling me, like, she was like,
she wants to come with her.
like, I swear. And I was just like, are you serious? She was like, yeah. She was like, as soon as my dad told me, or, you know, like the information was told to me, she was like, I instantly thought of you. She was like, I literally thought of you because, like, when you were telling me your story, I felt for you. Like, I totally understand. And she was like, it made me have a better understanding for what I'm about to walk into. Yeah. And I was just like, that's awesome.
I feel like our situation isn't unique. It's a lot of people who probably share similar stories. Like, I have a girl who I work with, and she told me that she had, her dad passed. And she said after he passed, like, people been reaching out to her, like, yo, I think we're siblings. And she's really close-minded to it. She doesn't want to meet them. And I said, you should. I was like, you just never know. Like, you know, you never know. I was like, at least meet them. And then based on your interaction with them, then pass judgment on that, you know. But to just not want to meet them at all, like, I encouraged her to, like, reach back out to them and stuff, you know. But I understand, you know, it all depends on the person and, like, if they feel comfortable. But I'm just like, look, you're in Maryland, you have no other family here. Most of our family's in California and in the South, you know. And I'm just like, if you have family in this area and they're reaching out to you, clearly they want to meet you, you know. I was just like, why not, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely it's rare. I mean, I definitely wouldn't.
It's a small world.
It's a small world. And you know what's even crazy? So my cousin Ray, his girlfriend knows one of your friends, Ashley.
Which Ashley?
Aisha knows Ashley with Chi-Chi's mom. And it's crazy because I think Ashley used to do Aisha's hair or something like that. And she remembers seeing you. Because when I finally posted, like, you're my sister, whatever, Aisha hit me up and she was like, I've seen this girl before.
So Ashley, that's so funny because Ashley was like my fake big sis before I met my sister. And also Devin. Devin, my
friend Devin. But
so basically, you said you were in hair school with her.
Yeah, we were there. Like, I graduated 2 months.
That place, and I remember seeing her. She had this popping color, and I was like, "Girl, did you color your hair?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I need your information." I don't think she was doing my hair. She wasn't the one doing my hair, but I remember reaching. And when I met my sister, I noticed that they were friends, and I was like, "How you know Devin?" And she was like, "We went to the same hair school." I was like, "But I went to that hair school and had my hair done." I was like,
I think you went after I graduated.
I was like, that would have been crazy if, like, you was in the same building and I didn't even know.
No, because we went
so
to
mad.
hair school around the same time frame. I literally graduated like 2 months after her.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
you went when I was already. So it was like 2 times that we probably could have crossed
And
paths
just didn't know.
and didn't know. And as far as Steven goes, like I always said, like, you know, when you dating people,
Yeah.
I'm like, I could be out here dating my brother or
Don't
something
even
like
know.
that. And my brother is 25, I'm 27, so we're close in age. So, you know, it's just creepy and weird. So
I've known people who've dated their own cousins and
I
found
don't
out
want
at the family
to.
reunion.
I'm honestly, I'm
And
not here
just
for
like,
it.
whoa. Whoa.
But that was our story, and I just wanted to share it with everyone because, you know, this is a thing that's happening, and sometimes it doesn't go as smooth as how our situation went. I feel like our situation could have definitely been a little bit, it could have been tricky, you know, like, I feel like if my mom would have raised me or if my address was listed under my mom's house and you came knocking at her door, then it probably would have been a different scenario.
Which is
but
what I expected.
you
That's
know,
what I was prepared to think.
my aunt, she is such a loving person. She was such a loving person, and she invited everyone into her home. So, you know, I feel like because of that is a big reason why we probably connected like how we did. And
she didn't get no bad vibes when she met me, clearly.
first of all, and then when I called her back after, like, to tell her what happened, like, when I FaceTimed her back to say that was my sister, she was calm. For some reason, she was calm, and she was like, you know what? You guys do favor each other. And I'm like, hello? She just said she's my sister. Like, what the heck? I was in shock mode. Like, I was literally, like, thinking. I had to turn off my TV. Like, I was literally like, okay.
We caught her as soon as she woke up, too. She just woke up from a dead nap.
It's crazy. Like, I'm telling you, never in a million years I would have thought. I joked around all the time, but I didn't think it was an actual thing. So, but yes, thank you for watching.
She said, thanks for finding me. I thought that was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah,
like, girl.
So we have the rest of our lives to be sisters, and I could be a auntie. I actually could be an auntie now. You know, I ain't gotta like auntie vibes. I'm
And
actually
my kids
auntie
be
vibes.
geeking. Well, especially Tasha, she be geeking over Chelsea.
Yeah,
like,
that's my girl.
she be thinking she can come spend the whole summer. I'm like, hold up.
Hold up. Hold up.
Chelsea's
sis.
out here living her best
Hold
life.
up.
It's not.
They'll, you know, by the time I have kids, they'll be perfect because they can babysit.
Yeah, when you start having kids, I'll probably start having my second set of kids.
Alright, so I have to go. Like, I have to go. We're done here.
We're done.
I'm just gonna wrap this up.
Bye.